to this quick tutorial to review your oil analysis report from TruVu 360. This report output is based on the mini lab type that you are using, 23, 33, 53, 153. Depending on the mini lab type that you're using will depend on how much data is output to this report. Top left corner is the Spectra Scientific logo. The Spectra Scientific logo can be removed and your company logo can be uploaded to customize your oil analysis report. Below the logo is the trivector. The trivector is split into three categories: wear, chemistry and viscosity, and contamination. That trivector is going to be a quick snapshot for you to see what the problemed areas are of your oil, if any. Next to the right is the asset information. The asset information is going to be generated based on when you set up your assets and what information you chose to put in when you programmed in your assets in the asset tree. You have the option of putting in site information, assets, asset type, manufacturer, component type, location, serial number, model, asset, operating hours. Next, you have the sample information, which is the oil type, the draw date, and notes. The notes are going to be generated from anything that you programmed into the TDC when you made notes about the sample when you ran it. Oil operating hours can be programmed in, and any top-up information as far as the volume that was used in the top-up can also be programmed in when you generate the sample. The diagnostics and recommendations box that is listed below lists the observations, diagnostics, actions, and additional recommendations. These observations, diagnostics, and actions are going to be automatically generated based on the component type that is listed for the unit. In this case, it's going to be a hydraulic mineral alarm sets and rules that are applied to this data. If the observations, diagnostics, and actions are not matching up to what they need to be for your application, a good place to start is changing the component type of the asset. In the right-hand side of the diagnostics and recommendations, you see the overall rating is again listed for the oil. Additional recommendations in the lower part of this box can be manually input when creating this final report. So this can be a customized feature for you to put in specific information about this sample. Let's look down at the test results box. The test results box will start by looking at the columns going across on the right hand, starting from left to right. Trivector is a list of the parameters and how they relate to which part of the trivector, whether it be wear, chemistry and viscosity, or contamination. Your purple gear is going to be classified as a wear category. The green drop is going to be associated with the contamination category. And the yellow flask or the orange flask is going to be associated with the chemistry and viscosity part of the trivector. Next, you have your parameters that are listed in the next column. The current sample will be listed most closely to the parameters. And then you will be able to look at the next or the previous 4 historical samples. After 5 samples are listed on the report, the data will show the most recent 5 samples. It will not show any more than that. And it does not mean you lose your data. It just means that the most recent 5 samples will show up on your report, and the rest of the data will be archived and accessible within TruVu 360. The last column you have are the units. The units are listed accordingly, whether it be hours, volume, concentration, parts per million. It will be listed accordingly depending on the test type. Going down, we have the draw date that's next listed, and this can be changed accordingly or auto-generated when you create your sample within TruVu 360. Next, you have the oil type that is referenced. It's very critical to reference the correct type of oil that is supposed to be used in the unit. This allows for proper triggering of alarm limits. Next, you have asset operating and oil operating hours that can be manually typed in to the database upon entering the sample. This is optional. It's not necessary to enter this information. You can also put in the top-up volume that was put in, if any, when taking this sample. The alarm code overall alarm code will show up for that specific sample. Next, let's take a look at all of the parameters and how we know what data to look at and look for in all of our different data parameters. You notice that here, as we look through, we see our we see our most recent sample and then our 4 historical samples. Each one of those alarm limits that are associated with the component type, which is hydraulic mineral in this case, are alarmed, and the marginal data is highlighted in yellow and the severe data is highlighted in red. And that is going to be critical for us to understand what is considered severe and what is considered marginal as we scroll down and look through our data and we look for trends. The triggered limit table was specifically designed to look at the current sample and what we need to automatically or immediately be addressing with the sample. The parameters that are listed as severe or marginal are located on this table, and this is designed as a quick reference for the end user to know what to do with the data. In this case, we have all of our parameters listed, and the limit types are listed as well, whether that be absolute or deviation percent, and then the direction in which those alarms were, how those alarms were alarmed. So in this case, all of them were up, and the alarm range is referenced below, and as well as the reference values. That goes back to the reference values of the baseline oil that is specified for this application. If there is a problem, or if you see a problem with the alarm limits, it's likely because all of the proper reference values are not programmed into TruVu 360. If you need a tutorial on how to get reference values into TruVu 360, please reference the manual or contact our customer support team. The last value of the last sample that was run is also referenced on this table, and then the test values for the most recent sample are listed as well. In the final pages of the report, you have the option of looking at the different tables that are for every single parameter that is listed on the oil analysis report. This is optional. You have the option of turning all of this off, just selecting a few and trending accordingly. You also have the option of trending wear, contamination, and chemistry as a whole. You may also turn off these features if not interested. And then finally, you also have the option of looking at your LNF images, and they are going to be classified into 5 different categories, whether that be cutting, sliding, fatigue, non-metallics, and fiber. And then additionally, you have your water category as well. This is a review of the TruVu 360 oil analysis report. If you have additional questions on how you would like to customize this report to meet your specific needs, please contact our customer support team at AMETEK Spectra Scientific. Thank you.